Hi there, welcome to the Gazelle podcast. We're off-site, as you can see this time, or rather on location, and I'm joined by a number of my Gazelle colleagues today. So first of all, let's introduce the team to you guys. So from my right,
Stuart Wilde, Senior Broker.
Paul Taylor, I'm Director at Gazelle.
Fran McDowell, I'm a Senior Broker as well.
and I'm Gary Williamson, the Managing Director, but we've met before, right? So today we're actually at quite a special location, somewhere that means an awful lot to us at Gazelle, and I'm going to ask Stuart to tell us a little bit more about it because it's kind of his pet project. So Stu, this is the Skipton Community Hub, which is obviously really important to Gazelle. You introduced us to this great venue. You're going to tell us a little bit about what it means to Gazelle and why we're involved?
Yeah, sure. So basically, it's really important to me that we are part of the communities that we're situated. Obviously, I'm quite close to the Skipton hub. It's a really important sort of site, sort of locally. Mm-hmm. But it's nice to be. I think as an insurance broker, you try to kind of sort of be a part of the local community.
Because not only do we insure the hub, obviously, which you've talked about, but I think one of the exciting things for me is we were asked to get involved and jumped to get involved, the opportunity to be a sponsor of the venue. So we're one of the founding sponsors of the community hub. We're also involved. Stu actually was volunteering, and you even work behind the bar behind us, and I believe butter some butties on a Saturday morning sometimes for some of the team. So look, it's a great thing. I think the whole community engagement. It's one of the values of Gazelle. It's one of the reasons that we exist, and I've talked about that on previous podcasts. We'll introduce more around the hub, and we're going to talk to the hub themselves in a podcast, which you'll see soon. But I think just from a values perspective, and PC, maybe you can add something on here. One of the reasons that we came up with this in the first instance was we generally do want to give back. We generally want to be part of the communities that we work in, and obviously this is a local community and a great opportunity for us, but there are other things as well, right?
Yeah, I think it's often easy to say that you're going to give back and be part of the community, but I think we've worked together for a long time. We've worked in insurance for a long time, and everybody needs it. Yeah, so at the end of the day, people don't tend to think about it until they need help. But I think being a broker in the local community is more than just about helping in the event of a claim. I think it's about helping the businesses thrive and helping the communities understand that they've got protection and support and advice any time of the year. And I think community, it's not just about being there in a moment. It's about being there throughout and all the time.
I think that's one of the nice things about being part of this. It's as an insurance broker, you tend to be only around for when things go wrong or when there's issues and you don't really see the result of that when things are going swimmingly. You don't really hear from clients as much. So to be able to sort of get involved in something and see something good, it's.
Let's face it. I mean, I'm getting on a bit now, but I think 30 years ago when I started out, community brokers were in every town and we're helping people, and now we've got a lot of great insurance brokers out there, but fewer and fewer in the heart of the community. So I think for Gazelle, it's a massive part of what we want to be.
Yeah, huge. And I think from a lot of companies, and we've all worked in large corporate companies, right? And I think it's one of the reasons maybe we'll touch on why we're all actually at Gazelle as we go through this. But we've all worked in those large businesses. Everyone has values and mission statements and things which it should mean something. But actually, I think in our business it really does mean something. I don't know if it's something. Stu, Fran, if it attracted you guys to the business at all, if it's a part of why we're all here together. But I think knowing you guys and talking as we do, I think having those values and doing more than just selling insurance to people does matter, right?
Massively.
Definitely.
Yeah, massively. It's not just a push button exercise. It's not just we're not just trying to take somebody through renewal. It's you're trying to really kind of connect with people and to find out exactly how you can be of help. And the rewards from that are, for me, greater than the monetary awards. I'm
glad you said that.
Being part of that. That's true.
And we've obviously, I mean, aside from what we do here, and we're going to talk a lot more about the hub and what we do here in Skipton. And you know, we sat in here today on an absolutely glorious, the hottest day of the year so far, the best day, looking out on the beautiful vista of the hills and
I'm really glad I brought my jumper today.
the gateway to Lancashire over there to my left. And, you know, we will get to see more of what we're doing here. But I think it's not the only community initiative that we've got at Gazelle. We've also got the work that we do around charities. I am going to put you on the spot a little bit, Fran. I promised I wouldn't. But just around, you know, you've got something coming up, which, so for our other charity that we support, obviously the Candlelighters, which, you know, I've talked about in previous podcasts and means an awful lot to us. We're all going to be doing some volunteering for that, and you've got something coming up actually soon, haven't you? So time to plug it.
Yes. So yeah, I've signed up to the 26-mile Great Leeds Walk for Candlelighters. I've roped in my husband, who's in the army, so he's pretty good with stuff like that. So let's hope he pulls me through it. I've tried to rope everyone else in. I'm not sure if everyone's keen.
I'm wavering.
Not got to that email yet.
I've tried really hard, so we'll see if someone wants to join us.
And I'm sure on the back of this, right? I'm sure they will. But you know, we've talked about, and we have, you know, we've done a lot with our charity partners, and we've got a lot more to come. It's still early days in that relationship. But I think, look, whether it's sponsorship of junior teams, and you know, here we support the Skipton football clubs, which again, you know far more about than I do. I just got one of the great coaches' jackets with a big Gazelle on the back of it, which is great. But I think, you know, we have got, you know, we've got the junior clubs, we've got the sponsorship here of the hub, and you know, when you do see pictures from outside, you'll see the signs and everything Gazelle, and that's great for us. That's nice to see all that kind of stuff. But actually, the giving back and the work that we've done with Candlelighters in particular, going and see Stu, we went and see the house, right, where these guys actually help the families. The Candlelighters charity, for those that haven't heard, the previous podcast is a charity specifically aimed at families with kids with cancer in the Yorkshire region. And that's something that means a lot to us, right? Because we've been there, seen it, and we're offering a lot of support.
Yeah. Again, it's really, well, it's really good to be able to see what your efforts are going towards, and something like that. It's just phenomenal. The difference it would makes for families to be able to sort of take the needle off the record a little bit, and give them just some time out of that when it's at a time in not just Giles' lives, obviously, but the parents as well, where all you're doing there is centered around the hospital to just sort of take you away from that it's phenomenal.
It is. I haven't seen that and things. So we've got more to come on the sponsorship. Obviously, Stu will be, I think, throwing you off some buildings and various different things that we've discussed. And
Stu's going to do some abseiling, aren't you?
I've got an abseil coming up in Wakefield. Yeah, I'm going to get thrown off
What are you jumping off in Wakefield?
Thrown off a church.
Cathedral,
Wakefield,
cathedral,
isn't
isn't it?
If anyone out there needs a stunt man for hire, Stu does like throwing himself off various different things. As long as it's high and slightly dangerous. But no, that's fantastic. And again, look, you know, we'll sort of move away from this for a second, so I don't want to make it sound like it's all we do is charity and community, but it's a huge part. And I think having values as a business is important. Yeah. I think the charity work, and I think the community work and the sponsorship. And you know, PT, you obviously asked a couple of times if we can look at sponsoring your local football team, Bolton Wanderers, but give it a year or two potentially.
Yeah, but I think there's a great point actually. What's the benefit for us? We're trying to get our brand and our business out there and known in well, hopefully all over the country, but in our communities. And I think we could choose to have one of these big boards at a big sports event. Maybe one day, but actually it's more powerful to be known in the community and get that brand out there and the Gazelle. Let's get the Gazelle all over Yorkshire and Lancashire and
if you haven't seen it
make
already.
a difference. If you haven't seen it already.
So for those of you that haven't seen the podcast before, there'll be a lot of Gazelles. You'll see my colleagues all wearing the Gazelle today. I'm very proud of our logo, what it's achieved. So let's actually for a minute or two talk about Gazelle and what we actually do as an insurance broker, because for anyone that's not seen our podcast before, then maybe they don't know that's what we actually do. So we are a corporate commercial insurance broker with our specialist schemes, et cetera, and that's great. But I think one of the things that resonates with me, and we've talked about a bit as a team, because this has come up in a lot of conversations, recently. I think this is a great platform to kind of get this out there. Is why do you use a broker? Why would a client actually come to an insurance broker? So, there's a lot of different mediums to buy insurance. I guess the bigger it gets, the more complex it gets, and things it might feel more natural. But why would you go to an insurance broker? Why would you deal with us? And what does an insurance broker actually do for their clients? What does an insurance broker do for their clients, guys?
I think the most important thing is the relationship that you build with the broker, which you don't get with the call centre. No one really likes dealing with the call centre, do they? I think that's the most important thing, isn't it? Building a relationship with your broker. So you're putting a lot of trust in us.
Yeah. No,
to do a good job.
The number one reason for me is reassurance, because that's why you buy insurance, for peace of mind. So, I mean, you can go and do it online yourself, and that's great. But to know that what you're buying is actually going to, come good in the event of a claim, that's the tricky bit, really. It's and we've found with some of our clients, our clients, at the time that we started talking to them, we looked at the insurances they had got, and some of these things were sort of online policies and whatnot, and just you might have not as well have bothered paying for that, sort of things.
I think even when it gets to, when you get to bigger scale businesses, like even businesses with, boards of directors, and the insurance is, unless you've got the right advice, you're guessing, and it's often important to try and save money for businesses. Insurance is a big spend, isn't it? So often the temptation is to try and cut the amount you're spending. But sometimes that could be at risk of the cover you need. And so I think the broker, a good broker is brave sometimes as well in making sure that you're making sure the cover's correct and accurate, so that if something goes wrong, it gets dealt with.
And maybe not just correct, but you're aware that, you might be able to get sort of better cover elsewhere, or there's a certain tweak or cheaper, or just having the knowledge of that, because in all fairness, it's not, my day job is insurance broking. I'm not very good at building hubs or keeping plants alive and that sort of thing, but you kind of, stick to your skill set.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think there's, the thing we perhaps don't shout about, so much is the experience, right? So our experience around this table, God, I dare even count, but it's way in excess of 100 years between us, probably just about between you and I almost now, but between us on the from working different insurers and brokers and such like. And I think, not only do you gain the knowledge in that time, I was thinking, like, you wouldn't go to court without a solicitor, right? You wouldn't, you wouldn't try and do your year-end numbers without an accountant or an FD or something involved in that process. You need experts, right, in these areas. But I think what that also brings is insurance is a food chain. It's a cycle. It's starting with the insurers themselves down to the clients. This isn't just about, we don't just sit there in front of the screen, look at that, find the cheapest quote at the bottom of the quote engine and go, there you go, Mr. Client, Mrs. Client. That's the deal that we're going to put on the table for you. What we do is we engage with markets, with insurers that we know really, really well, and we build up years and years of trust and credibility with, and we present that risk, we sell that risk, right? We explain exactly, we understand the clients that we've got, we understand the sector that they work in, the trades they work in, and say, actually, this is how we're going to present you to insurers, which is not necessarily the way that would come across if you weren't engaging with the broker. And to a point, I'm going to ask you about this, PT, in particular, as a claim specialist, but in event of a claim, the last thing you need is a piece of paper that you paid an awful lot of money for that actually doesn't give you the cover that you need for that claim, aren't you?
Yeah, and I think linked to that, just something Fran had said before about relationships and trust. I think, inherently unfortunately, people do link, insurance with, and the claim is never paid, and I think people hear about that and read about that. Yeah. But, the bottom line is a good broker, with having given the right advice, is there in that moment. And I think, obviously I've had a lot of experience over my time, good and bad, of when things go wrong and what other people do about it. But at Gazelle, we're here to help the minute something happens, and we're here not just to pass papers through to insurance companies, but to help the client get the resolution they need and get the claim sorted. So I think it's not just about following a process. I think it's about that trust relationship coming through at that point of claim as well. And if it means going out and visiting site, and I think often it's if you think about, I don't know, a big flood or something, you think about the damage to the property or the reinstatement of that. But it's more than that. It's then about the business having to stop stop trading for a while, or losing clients, or not being able to deliver goods. I think it's making sure that we help them with all of that, the business impact of a claim, not just repairing the damage.
Yeah.
I think fundamentally we sell reassurance, peace of mind, and it's somebody, relationship. Fran, you touched on it. It is that, right? It's trust. Absolutely about trust. It's, you trust your insurance broker, go to your insurance broker. Look, and again, even those people that have been with us as brokers in different guises for years are still going to test us against the market. Sometimes we're going to go to other brokers, and there are some great brokers out there. We know that there's some brilliant brokers out there as well as us. It's not just us, but there are some other good brokers out there as well, and that's fine. However, we pride ourselves on service is kind of the absolute heartbeat of what we do, and offering that service. Not just saying yes to everything, right? But sometimes having difficult conversations, or explaining that something is, it's this price for this reason, but actually you're better paying that price because it's the right thing to do. So I think we've all got examples. I'm sure we can think of there, but ultimately we just need to make sure that our clients are well supported and well serviced. So just sort of touching on and taking that round a little bit. So Gazelle's obviously a new business. Yeah, we started. We've been trading for only a few months, really. We've been around for about a year and a half. But I sometimes ask myself a question. I think I know the answer to this, but I'd love your views, everybody. Well, that crazy to set up Gazelle right in the market like we're in? There's plenty of brokers out there.
Definitely.
3.5, 4. Yeah. Thank you,
A little
Stu.
bit.
It wasn't a one-word answer I was looking for, but yeah, look, there's tons of brokers out there in this market. I think what you see, those people that are not familiar, I think one of the things we try to do with this podcast is bring people into, why you deal with an insurance broker, what it's all about, the value that we add, but actually a little bit of a peek behind the industry almost. And we see all sorts of sectors and trades, from dealing with lots and lots of different types of insurance, lots and lots of different clients. And I think actually consolidation is something that's happening all over the place now. I think, large consolidators, big businesses buying small businesses. It's a cyclical thing. Private equity involved in a lot of businesses. Insurance hugely. So, while we're watching, there's some massive, massive businesses that we're up against, with lots of challenges. Why on earth would you set up an insurance broker in today's market? I think the question for me, and it's, where does Gazelle belong? Right? Why does Gazelle exist? And actually, why does the insurance market need a Gazelle?
Well, some would say you're crazy anyway, Gary, but we'll take setting that aside. I think it's a genuine time for experienced people to come together and so yes, we're a new business, but we're not effectively new because we're all very experienced at what we do, and we've probably worked for big organizations, and I think because of some of that consolidation, we've got an opportunity to be the local broker, local community broker, and but with corporate and lots of experience that we can bring together. I think I don't think you're crazy. I mean, I've asked that myself, the same question as myself in terms of why get involved with this now at this part of my career. But I think it's exciting, and I think now's the right time, and personality. We can bring some personality to real people dealing with real people. So
it almost feels inevitable at this stage that's going to happen. It just feels like the way the market's gone to this point, the more consolidation and kind of more distance from clients. It almost feels like we're on the cusp of the forefront of going back to our broking, how it should be really. Looking after clients and sort of getting involved at a community level. So it sort of feels like we're the forward charge a little bit. So, yeah.
And that's great. Well, I mean, thank you for the therapy session there, guys. I really appreciate that. But I think the other part is, we all came to Gazelle from, much bigger businesses, from much more corporate careers. And perhaps, Fran, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit here. Just tell us a bit about your background and your career to date, and why on earth at this stage in your, accomplished insurance career, you joined a business like Gazelle.
Well, I started at a very independent broker, which was bought out by a much bigger corporate business, and it changed a lot. So I feel like going back to my roots a little bit. It's just it's more comfortable. It's just much nicer atmosphere, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's about, the team really, isn't it, here in this business? I think we absolutely are focused on working together as a team. Yeah, the business is getting bigger. There's more and more people joining Gazelle all the time. We're getting involved in, even different territories, different areas as well, watch this space. But actually, the key thing for all of us, I think, some of us obviously known each other quite a long time, most of us have, is there is that teamwork, right? That sort of community spirit within the business that we've got, and that's kind of one of the things I think that's really brought us together.
Yeah, and dare I say credibility. I think it's really important that you know what you're talking about. You two do. That's good. Senior brokers who you've done this a long time and you've given good advice and you've seen things go wrong and right. But when we go in front of clients, bigger clients, particularly, we need to have that credibility, and we've got the experience that we can draw from.
I think the good thing from my point of view, Fran and I haven't worked together before. There's been members of the team I haven't sort of worked alongside, but the speed at which we actually sort of came together as a team, I think that's probably reflected in the fact we're all pulling in the same direction. We've all got the same sort of mindset, so that's been really, really nice, really good to be a part of.
Feels like a big happy family.
Yeah, really good. Yeah.
It is, and I guess that makes me mum.
I'm definitely mum.
Definitely mum.
Mother hen.
Definitely mum. Without you, my goodness me. You'll meet some of the other kids next time. Where's Kat? But yeah, I think that's great. I think it's again important. We'll get the Gazelle name out there and people will understand more about the business. But I think again, just bringing it back to our market, the place we work. I think one of the things that we see, I've talked about in previous podcasts is awards and nominations. It's quite a glamorous industry. We love an award. We love a big celebration, big tables together, and glamorous presenters there. But we have been lucky enough to be lucky enough. Is that the right word? To be nominated for a couple of awards recently. And I think as a young business that makes me tremendously proud. But I think that's fine. That's names above the door, whatever. But I think the reality is, it's not for me that we've seen it. What do you guys feel about that? How does it make you feel? And what importantly do you think it matters for our customers?
My view is reputation will build through what we do, but I think being recognised so early by national industry body and the Yorkshire Choice Awards, which I think is fantastic for the local community stuff. I think it's great for reputation, it's great for credibility, as I said before, and I think you don't have to be running 5 or 6 years before you get recognised for what you've created.
Yeah, well, the visibility is amazing. It's that validation as well. Again, that word that keeps popping up, but just to be able to to be a proper business within that community, that insurance community. Yes,
I mean, I know you paid for the best table as well, so that might have helped. I don't know.
Don't give away all the industry secrets, right? Yeah, well, we paid for the table for the Yorkshire Choice Awards, which we're very much looking forward to going to. We're not, we don't know that we're going to win that one yet. But look, it's a brilliant for us. But I think actually, I'm pleased for you guys because you deserve it. I think as a team, we recognise we celebrate success together. We do celebrate the success, and the great thing being, a startup business, a new business, and a business that's gone on for sort of the time that we've gone on is like almost everything we do is the biggest this or the newest that or the fastest this. So, we've celebrated a lot of success. And I think that's just helped, in terms of the community. But the other thing as well is we love to do that with our clients and with the markets that we deal with as well. I think it's fair to say that we are a social business, right? We do like, sorry, we do like to celebrate success. We like to engage with people. And I think, we've talked about this a lot, but traditional values, right? Traditional values, that insurance broker in a community used to be the guy that you'd have a beer with, have a game of golf with, whatever. And I think that's sort of a key part of what we're trying to bring back. Right?
Yeah,
it's all about beers, it's about traditional values, right?
Yeah, but I think also, there's a serious part to that. And why do we do that? Because we want to build relationships and we want to build that trust. And if you understand somebody's business inside out, then guess what? We're going to get get better covers and get a better protection for them. So that's I suppose the boring side of the social argument, but it's there's a real benefit to it, getting to know people.
Yeah.
There is. So look, I'm going to sort of wrap up this session because I think there's so much that we could talk about, but I'm going to talk about an obvious challenge that you might perceive within a business like Gazelle. So, we're head office in London. Our main trading centre and broking centre is in Leeds. We did step the other side of the Pennines, so we've got an office in Chorley. We're starting to hire people. I keep looking at that big hill in the background there, thinking that Lancashire's over the other side of it. By the way, for anyone watching, I love Lancashire too. To say that, but yeah, we've got a bit of a cultural divide in the business, but I think we've managed to bring that together right. It seems to be working okay, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, I suppose. I mean, you have to tell me otherwise. I'm the Lancastrian around the table here, aren't I? I think, I've been working in Yorkshire for the last 5 or 6 years, so nobody's found me out yet. And also, I've always I live in Chorley, so I've always had a dream that we'll build something out of there, and we will. So like the Lancashire hub, we'll be competing. Friendly competing with our Yorkshire.
We've almost changed our birth certificate, Stu, and you're in Yorkshire now. So.
Yeah, sort of just over the border. Just
Good stuff. So, guys, I think there's tons of things that we can talk about. These podcasts are going to go on. There's going to be lots and lots of things that we're going to bring out. We're going to meet all the team. We're going to get out there. Into different locations. This is one client, this is one partner that we have here at the Skipton Community Hub, and we're very, very proud of that. Watch this space, guys, for future Gazelle podcasts. So on that note, I'd like to wrap up this session and say thank you for watching.